How do you create a story that people remember? You want to have a story that sticks in people's minds so they can remember you and your story. I'm Carol Dean with From the Heart Productions, and this is our 4th class in film funding, and I want to share with you this information. It's from a book called Made to Stick by Dan and Chip Heath. They're 2 brothers, and they go into a lot of explanation over 4 elements that they say you need to have in a story to make it what I call a sticky story. That means that you can talk about your film, write about your film, and people remember it because you have these 4 elements. And they are something shocking, something emotional, touch my heart, and something credible, it's believable, and something concrete that they can put their feet on and feel comfortable with. So we'll take each one of these and go for it. But the first thing I have to acknowledge is that they say you are the carrier of too much information, and that is very true. I talk to filmmakers on a daily basis, and when you start talking about your film, you go into another world. You know, your characters, your dialogue, your story, but it's too much. So you have to break that down, because we're talking about what you would write when you do your documentary outline, or when you do your deck, or your proposal, or your business plan. So you have to be brief. You have to do like journalists do. They prioritize, and so can you. So we're going to take all the elements, go through each one of them. So we start with something shocking. Why would you do that? Well, because, first of all, even when people are reading your deck or your proposal, they may not be all there. So you have to wake them up, give them something shocking, something unexpected, something important. Question is good. That gets their attention, because that shows they weren't listening or they weren't reading. They have to go back and read it again. What's that question? So it's get their attention. That's the most important thing. This is a power seize. You're going to grab them and put them in your power. Now you're going to tell something that's concrete, something sticky that they will remember. So ideas are concrete. You make them concrete because you talk about specific people doing specific things. Don't generalize. And in fact, Dan and Chip say use a lot of nouns. Don't use words like justice or personality. Something like specific, an avocado, anything, a bicycle, something that they can see. This has got to be a visual written material. Now, you'll have to make your ideas concrete and talk about specific people doing specific things. And truthful statements are concrete. Now, what's credible? Well, statistics are credible. And think about it. What makes people believe something? Well, they could have experienced it, then they really personally know it. It could be a professional, a doctor, a psychiatrist, a lawyer, credible, or now an AI person. And of course, actors lend credibility when you have an actor in a film or a documentary voiceover. Vivid details boost credibility. I'll tell you an example of that. 40 years ago, 1984, Wendy's created a commercial that just hit everybody's attention. We all loved it. And here's what it looked like. It was 3 women sitting at this table, and there was this giant hamburger bun in the middle of the table. So the first person said, "Gosh, look at the size, that's a big hamburger bun." And the next lady said, "Oh, yes." And the third lady took the hamburger lid and she moved it back, and sitting there was a tiny little patty. And she said, "Where's the
Very
beef?"
big bun. Big fluffy bun. It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Said, "Where's the beef?"
Where's the
Where's
beef?
the beef became the word of the day. Well, at the same time, there was voiceover, and the voiceover said, "Wendy's hamburger has more beef than McDonald's super beef." What was it called? McDonald's Big Boy. So everybody started going to Wendy's, and their sales went up 31%. That is what I would call a vivid detail about something. So they couldn't get the thought out of their mind, the huge hamburger bun and the little bitty piece of meat. So this is another way to talk about things, is credible, and statistics, visual details. Now let's go into what my favorite thing is, which is emotions. And I think emotions are totally underplayed in the film industry. We're creating things, and you have to touch people. And I say, when you touch my heart, I open my pocketbook, I write you a check, because I'm attached now. So please, don't be afraid of emotions. Put them in there. I'll tell you from the book, Made to Stick, they talked about a nonprofit company called Save the Children. So they are sending out their yearly requests for donations, and they created 2 letters. One letter talked about this part of Africa that they service, and it said the Africans are in need of water and food and health care, and we need to support them. The second letters took it from one person's point of view. They said, "There's a child named Rokia, and she needs your help. She has no food, she has no water, and she needs education, and she needs medical supplies. Will you help?" So which one do you think got the most money? Of course, this one where there was one person, because we all can relate to one person. That touched people's hearts and created this emotion of caring, supporting, nurturing, so people gave much more, double. They gave double that amount. So you have to go back and think about Mother Teresa. Remember, she said, "When I think of the masses, I do not move. When I think of the one, I move." So use that in your mind. Keep that in your mind. Let us relate one-on-one to your subject, or to the subject's important statement they're making. When I first started into fundraising through crowdfunding, Indiegogo asked me to be a partner back in 2011. And at that time, they were a small organization. The only kid on the block was Kickstarter, who was the thing. So From the Heart helped them with bringing in millions of dollars. And one of the there were 2 great films that happened back to back. The first one was all about emotion. It was a bus monitor who was being bullied by the kids on the bus. Her name was Karen. So the woman who put up the platform or the film said that she got on the bus and she took her camera, and it was like a hidden camera. So it was mostly the dialogue of the kids bullying Karen.
Likely target in this video, a 68-year-old woman. And here's ABC's David Muir.
It is 10 minutes, 9 seconds long. The cell phone video of a painful bus ride now traveling at lightning speed online, as parents and their children now watch a 68-year-old bus monitor, Karen Klein, taunted by 4 middle school students.
You take up like the whole entire seat.
The verbal jabs appear to become physical, one student appearing to poke her there with his book. Then they turn to a story they had heard about her son, who committed suicide, making fun of that too.
Well, she said, "We need $3,000 to send her on vacation." And first thing you know, it was at $100,000. And they went to $200,000. And then the TV anchors around the country picked it up and said, "What is this? Why are people still giving?" Because we were ashamed of how Karen was treated. and our $20, $50 all made a difference. She raised $700,000 through that video that was totally emotional. All right? They had to double their crew at Indiegogo when that happened. I mean, they were flooded with donations. And the second one was a gentleman who had no video. He only had words on a page, but he chose his lettering and fonts carefully. And he said, let's build a damn museum for Tesla. We have forgotten him. He was our greatest physicist, and the information he gave us was brilliant. Well, over $1 million he raised because he touched our hearts. So think about that when you get into emotion. That's one of the key things to put in. So it's something shocking, something emotional, something credible, and something concrete. And you will have a story that people walk away and remember. And in fact, they are going to pitch your film for you, and you will be getting checks for grants and investments. Thank you for joining, and look for our next film in this series.